Good morning, Southern California, your hometown station, KHTS. I'm your host, Fred Arnold, on the Santa Clarita Business and Real Estate Show, joined by Sean Bryant. Sean Bryant is a partner in the Los Angeles office of Now CFO, and they're in quite a few industries. Let me get this right, Sean: apparel, online digital marketing, transportation, retail, direct sales, manufacturing, nonprofit, and securities work. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you. You're actually one of our colleagues in the Provisors Network group, and you're an expert when it comes to advising CFOs. And CEOs. Mm-hmm. What are the top 5 things? And let's just cover this. Top 5 things CEOs ask you to do.
It's a great question, Fred, because when we sit down with a lot of these CEOs, CFOs, controllers,
the C-suite,
anybody who's sort of managing director, whatever you want to call them, right? We sit down and we've interviewed thousands of them. We've sat down with several of them just to figure out what their exact needs are. And accountants don't like to make things easy. We like very difficult things, but we've simplified this, and we figured we've got 6 ideas here, or things that people most likely will ask us to help them with. And a lot of that just from mid-sized business or small cap business or larger business, everybody's looking for more visibility. And these are a lot of visibility items. Specifically, what does my cash flow look like? I've never budgeted. Help me figure out a budget.
Now, that's scary for an entrepreneur, you're going to find, right? Because
Absolutely.
A lot of entrepreneurs that grew their company kind of did it, by the seat of their pants.
Yes.
And so you probably find that one of the most challenging things.
They're running it from a bank account, really. Yeah. And a bank account is not much different than your typical QuickBooks accounting system, right? You want to run a cash basis business. I want to know what my inputs and my outputs are.
Yeah.
What's coming in, what's coming out. But if I've grown so much and now I've hired people and I've got payroll and I've got deadlines and I've got everything else, what am I really looking at from a budget perspective? And some people, and I don't know why it's 13 weeks other than to say that maybe bankruptcy courts have figured that 13 weeks is a good way to forecast things out. But for the most part, a lot of people like to look that 13 weeks ahead. Mm-hmm. Just show me what my cash flow looks like. Show me what my forecast looks like. And then let's budget accordingly, because we don't want to be surprised.
Well, I think they need to change it from 13 to some other number. So another challenge, and I think we've done a good job at our mortgage firm on this, and that is evaluating people, evaluating processes. And that's something you guys do a lot, which is create scorecards.
We do. We can come in and create a scorecard. We can help you just be able to really kind of model your business. What does it look like? What does a growth pattern look like? Hey, if I look this good this year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now, given economic changes and everything else, what am I going to look like? And scorecards really help that out. And people like to look at those maybe on a weekly basis if you're running a tight ship.
Sometimes, Sean, don't you find that scorecards themselves can help correct people's employees' behaviors and or processes, because a lot of people care about their job.
Sure. And you own a business, I own a business, nobody's going to make bigger mistakes than both of us, right? But it also corrects us.
Right.
And we want to be able to correct those behaviors, but we also want to correct some of our own behaviors. Some of the decisions that we make.
What are some of the most common things you have to fix when it comes to an accounting system?
Some people just tend to underhire. If in a small cap type
in
company,
a small company,
small cap companies, they'll hand their record keeping over to their fantastic bride. That bride will take it and run with it and get as far as she can get to it.
Because they're not afraid of that person taking money and all the things that come.
But then sometimes the husband and the wife, they don't want the conflict in their marriage, so he wants to push her out and bring somebody like us in. Oftentimes, they just hire somebody who can't necessarily grow with the company and provide them the visibility aspects. A lot of people are good transactionally, can handle the books on a day-to-day basis and so forth. But when you start growing transactionally wise, you begin to see that you need a little bit more support.
But doesn't that person, in our firm, it's a Tammy, right? Mm-hmm. When she hands something off, she can still now be our checks and balances. She
absolutely.
can now be that person overlooking that next person that takes it over. I mean, that's powerful if you look at it from that perspective.
Yes. Yeah. You always want somebody looking over everybody's shoulders and so forth and so on. And in accounting, we typically call that internal controls.
Yeah, oversight. Yep. Establishing an accounting foundation. What's that mean?
If a company just doesn't understand what their accounting department's supposed to look like, we'll come into companies typically and just help them establish what that looks like. This is where you're at. This is what, if you've got a good clerical pool, you've got AP, you got AR, you got payroll, but how do I mesh that all together?
Yeah.
What does that look like? Do I need to bring a controller in, a CFO? We typically, we've had enough experience. We can come in and help people understand what that looks like.
And sometimes the CFO or the entrepreneur is not sure how to manage them.
No. Yeah. And our people, just to pump up what we do, our people are usually sort of Big Four accounting. We're CPAs. We've got lots of the controller CFO experience. We've seen on many different levels what that all looks like, and we help manage people through that.
Love that
process.
And then, of course, you mentioned the checks and balances. The last thing you do that's always important, isn't it?
It is. Internal controls is always important. And a lot of people think that it involves, well, you're overseeing me, you're overlooking. No, it's to protect everybody. We want to protect the business, the asset, right? But yet at the same time, we want to protect anybody from getting themselves or having the temptation to get themselves in trouble.
Yeah.
And so just to put a positive spin on it, let's just protect everyone.
And let's work together in order for us to grow the company. We all have jobs.
Precisely.
Yeah, exactly. Those that want to reach out to you, Now CFO?
Now CFO, it's nowcfo.com. We do have 20 partners in 20 offices all over the country. LA, feel free to email me at sbryant@nowcfo.com or 818-522-2174.
Sean, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Brad. I appreciate it. This is a great group here.
Absolutely. Hope you enjoyed this edition of the Santa Clarita Business and Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Fred Arnold, on your hometown station, KHTS.
Healthcare can be difficult.